Okay, we are moving on to adding and subtracting radicals. Now, even though we are moving on to adding and subtracting, just like fractions, if you add or subtract fractions, you still have to make sure that when you are done, that your answer is reduced or simplified. This is no different. So if you are adding and subtracting radicals, you still have to make sure that your final answer is simplified. So even though we have moved on to the next section, simplifying is always going to be happening. When you add fractions, you add numerator to numerator and get a new numerator, but you keep the denominator. You reduce and you get a 3. Radicals are much the same way. If you have 2 radical 3 plus 5 radical 3, you cannot add or subtract radicals if you do not have the same number under the radical. So 2 plus 5 gives me a 7. Just like fractions, you keep it as a 7 radical 3. So if you have 2 of these plus 5 of these, it gives you 7 of these. Now, at first glance, you might look at this and say, you know what, they don't have the same radical, so I can't add them. But you have to check to see if it's simplified first. 2 radical 3, can't do anything with that. Square root of 27, that probably has a perfect square under it. So 27 breaks down to 3 times 3 times 3. Circle the pairs, so I get 3 radical 3. Square root of 27 is 3 radical 3, but I can't forget about my 5. So I have 15 radical 3. Now they have the same number under the radical. So I get 17 radical 3. Let's try 4 radical 5. We'll make it a subtraction this time. Let's start over. 4 radical 5 minus, let's do 2 radical 30. Okay, radical 30 is pretty big. Let's see if there's a perfect square hidden in there. 30 is 10 times 3, which is 2 times 5 times 3. No pairs. Nothing to circle, nothing to take out. So the square root of 30 is the square root of 30. It can't be simplified. These are not the same number under the radical. So that would be my simplified answer. I should not see any decimals. Let's try another problem of 3 radical 18 plus 4 radical 12 plus 5 radical 27. I know I've already done that before, but it's going to save us a little bit of work. Radical 18. Well, I know that that is 3 times 3 times 2. Circle my pairs. So the square root of 18 is 3 radical 2. Don't forget about the 3 that's already there. 12, I know, is 2 times 2 times 3. Circle my pairs, so I get 2 radical 3. So the square root of 12 is 2 radical 3. Don't forget about the 4 that's already there. So I have 8 radical 3. We've already done this. Square root of 27 is 3 radical 3. Don't forget about the 5. So that gives me 15 radical 3. Out of all 3 terms that I have, these are the only 2 with a common radical. So I get 23 radical 3 plus 9 radical 2.